Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I want to talk about the NRA B8, the target, a little bit of backstory, probably why I like shooting it, and kind of some ground level reasons to work with it and how to work with it easily. Why you care. If you want to be accurate, working on a bullseye is helpful. Shooting a very large target or a target with larger surface area, like this one here, the USPSA. I don't have an issue, by the way, with the width of the A zone, but the height of it is pretty long. So it is somewhat forgiving. Bullseyes tend to not have that level of forgiveness in them. So if you want to be more accurate generally, or you want to be more accurate at speed, I think that working a bullseye will help you out quite a bit. So that's the why. History. When it comes to target shooting in the United States, records of informal competitions have been around ever since there were guns and something to shoot at. So, trying to put an X on the calendar when and where doesn't really make a lot of sense. If there was a piece of wood and some charcoal to draw something to shoot at, I think that people were probably doing that. When the NRA first came about in 1871, uh, the formal shooting competitions followed soon thereafter, a lot of long range shooting competitions. And I think a lot of those started out actually on iron targets. So you could hear audibly when your lead slug hit at whatever range you were shooting at. And so most of the initial longer range shooting competitions that the NRA organized were along those lines. Once we had the advent of printed paper or printed cloth, that was when we started to see kind of more formalized bullseyes where you had scoring area and even scoring rings. And this is obviously a B8 here, which I'll talk more about the specifics of in a bit. But that's really when things started to come about. Small bore and practical pistol, or I'm sorry, precision pistol. Practical pistol being a much more recent occurrence. Um, I don't know when the B8 first came about. I did some digging, at least surface level. I bet you somebody like Brian Zenz could probably immediately off the top of his head tell you the B8 was first used in whatever year. I am not him, quite obviously. The most winningest precision pistol shooter there is, as far as I know. Anything he wants to tell you about bullseye shooting is worth listening to. I digress. But I do know that precision pistol's been around a while. The current rule book for it, you can look, I think it's as of 2020. And the B8 itself was used, and it even tells you if you look at this that it is a 25-yard pistol target. So for outdoor matches on the timed or what they call rapid fire portion of those events, that was when the B8 was used. Other bullseyes are used depending on the ranges and whether it's indoor or outdoor. But that's the kind of the basic history. I'm going to talk about scoring, but I have to change my camera setup because I want to actually show you on a bullseye what I'm talking about and my way of scoring, which you probably already know. I refer to it as negative scoring. Makes life a lot easier if you're trying to score your target or other people's targets and not take all day or use a calculator. So more on that. Stay tuned. Hey guys, let's talk about the B8 itself now. Obviously, you can see I got this one from Targets for free. What's excellent about them is this is an actual. I'm sorry, let me. I have no affiliation with these guys. I just get targets from them on their website. But what I like about their targets is they are true to scale. And I don't know that every target out there that you get is actually true to scale. You can measure it yourself. These are the actual dimensions. So your X ring, your center ring should be 1.695 inches. The 10 ring should be 3.36 inches. The 9 ring, 5.54 inches. And the 8 ring, 8 inches. That's, as I understand it, why they call it a B8 bullseye, because the 8 ring is 8 inches in diameter. So those are the basics. When you're shooting a B8, then the scoring rings are how you score. So if you shoot one in the 8 ring, that's 8 points. Shoot one in the 9 ring, that's 9 points. Shoot one in the 10 ring, 10 points. Shoot one in the X ring, still 10 points, but it helps for tiebreakers. Now, I typically count the outside as zeros. Like those don't exist. depending on if you want to. That's certainly okay. And I wouldn't necessarily discount it, but I like trying to keep all my hits inside the 8 ring or better. You can get stacks of printed targets that have scoring rings all the way out, and then you can just get repair centers, what they call them. So if you ever see something called a B8C, that is the repair center. You just put it over a bullseye target, and so you can just paste that on. The B8T, I think, is a full target, and there's another, but it's nomenclature that I don't think matters so much. So if we are talking about scoring, like I said, if you just count up all the ones in 8, multiply those by 8, and then all the ones in 9, multiply by 9, all the ones in 10, multiply by 10, add them all up, and you have your final score. That's really easy if you have something where you're only shooting it 2, 3, 4 times. Counting up makes sense then. But if you're going in strings of fire, 6, 8, 10, 20, or 30, any of those, then counting up takes a long time. And I'm a mental midget when it comes to that. So I either have to start taking off my shoes or breaking out a calculator. So the counting up part, a lot of people like or can understand easily. But let me just tell you about my secret way to do it. And if you've watched any of my other videos, like the advanced super test when I did it, then you saw me do it, but I was probably doing it kind of shorthand freestyle, and maybe it didn't make sense. So here's my system. I consider these scoring rings to be negatives, except for 10, which 10 is like full value. 10 is good to go. So if I have a string of fire where I'm shooting 10 rounds, and all 10 are in the 10 ring, then we know that's 100, right? That's easy. But the problem is sometimes we have other hits that don't stay in the 10 ring, and then I have to do math. Now, like I said, I could count from the bottom up, but I think it's easier to actually go from the top down. So if I know my string of fire has a maximum score of 100 points, max score, and I know I have 10 rounds on target, so I don't have to worry about that. Well, I tell you what, let's just say we have 9 on target. Let's say we have 1 out here. So I know right off the bat that 10th hit that didn't land, that's going to be minus 10 from my 100. So we'll just put 10 there. Let's say we have 2 more over here in the 8 ring. So that's going to be minus 2 each. So then minus 4. And then let's say we have 3 more over here. So that's going to be minus 3. And all the rest are in the 10 ring. So now I have 100 minus 10 is 90. Minus 4 is 86. Minus 3 is 83. So my hypothetical at that point is an 83 point target. In my mind, that is easier than counting up from the bottom, because now instead of adding 9 or 10 numbers, I only have to take one number and subtract a smaller number from it, or a smaller set of numbers from it. Like I said, in my mind, easier. So let me show you some real world examples. We'll score some of the targets that I have shot when I was trying to test out barrels. So here's my trusty Glock 19. I shot 10 rounds at this, I do believe, but we'll just check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 rounds. Easy. And they're all within the 8 ring or better, so I don't have to subtract 10. So we know that. Let's see. So I've got 3 in the 8 ring, and those 3 would be 2 points, 4 points, 6 points. So 2 points down, right? For each. So minus 6. Then each one in the 9 would be another minus 1. So we're already at minus 6, minus 7, minus 8, minus 9, minus 10, minus 11, minus 12. So this is an 88 point out of a possible 100 points. Here's another. This one gets really entertaining. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 100 point max. Nothing in the 8 ring, so we're not subtracting any 2s. We're only subtracting 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is a line break, so I'm not even going to count it. So this is a 94 out of 100 and a 94 with 1x. Now the 1x, like I said, is just for tiebreakers. Doesn't change the 94. It's just 94. One last one, and then I will stop bothering you with math. Let's see. Now let's do this one. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points once again. So 100 points max. 2, 4, 5, 6. 6. And that's a line break. So once again, 94. So guys, it's not too difficult. And like I said, that's my shorthand for scoring bullseye targets. In my mind, this is a lot easier. Maybe in yours it's not. I don't know. Let me know. Like, crush me in the comments. But I find it is less daunting to shoot on B8s once you kind of understand how to score them, and in my mind, score them easily. That way, I can write down in my logbook my time and my score and my distance, and then I can compare that a month later, 2 months later, a year later. You know, when I shoot the same drill, is my score still good? Did it slide? Am I better? Did I shoot it faster? Like, all these things are important to know. If you don't measure and record things, guys, then it becomes very difficult, one, to see if you're improving, and two, there's very little incentive to work on it. So I hope this is helpful. I know it's pretty long-winded. If you've made it this far, if you would be so kind as to like this video, subscribe if you have not already, please share with your friends. I know I don't have a ton of subscribers, and I don't think I'm ever going to make any real cash from doing this, but nevertheless, what I'm doing, I hope is helpful to some people. I think that's it. Hit me in the comments if there's anything that you weren't sure about, or there's any improvements you would make. Guys, the next video that I'm going to do regarding bullseyes, I'm actually going to talk about one way, a beginner way that does not cost you a lot of time or money to start getting better at shooting bullseyes. So we'll talk about that in the next video. Until then, guys, stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you soon.